Hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among other things. Now we're taking a look at Dent Wireless, which is a fan favorite for my community. So thank you, Jonathan, for reaching out to ask that I cover this here today. He's one of my Patreon contributors. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your support. Moving forward, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. Always do your own research. And just know that I have years of trading experience, and my goal is to help you become more of an effective, intelligent trader, not to buy into the hype, and to just make sure we help you find a good entry point, if nothing else. Okay? Now, I have a link to my description, of course, to my Patreon account, as well as my Discord channel and my Telegram community. So feel free to get engaged there if you'd like to learn more about crypto and technical analysis. So without further ado, let's go ahead and check it out. Alright folks, let's go ahead and take a look at Dent Wireless. And before we do, we always look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first, just to get a sentiment overall on the market, see what's going on, and then dive deeper into the technicals, starting with the 1-day chart, 4-hour chart, 15-minute, and the 1-minute. Find a good entry point for you, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin first. Now, this is Bitcoin, and first of all, to preface, I use TradingView, the TradingView chart within Binance desktop application. So if you look on the top right hand corner here, you just click on TradingView. That's how it's enabled if you have Binance. Now, as far as what we're looking at here, this is a 4-hour chart, and these are all the previous support lines from before. Believe it or not, these were once support levels. Needless to say, current support, which was lost recently, is at 38,800. Currently, as well, bear in mind, the 50-day moving average is still working as a support level. This candle hasn't closed yet, so let's not lose faith yet. But what we want is for the 50-day moving average to continue to work as a support, which it has done for the last approximate 24 hours. Okay, so we'll see what happens with that, but once it breaks above and stays above, we should be on, basically, on track for 42,000. That is the rough estimate for the most nearest resistance level, if you will. Okay, so just be mindful. That is essentially what we're looking at there for Bitcoin. No need to even mention any of the other resistance levels and or moving averages. Ethereum, we're looking at Ethereum next. Almost identical scenario, only difference is we haven't had as much of a drawback as we did with Bitcoin. So this is nice actually to see, because the 50-day moving average is working as a support level, but the price is kind of on average a little bit higher than Bitcoin, which basically means that Ethereum is seeing more volume than Bitcoin is in the overall sentiment of market capitalization. So it's a very good sign here, because it means that Ethereum might be kind of back on track, for lack of better terms, because I think recently Ethereum didn't get as much capitalization as just say the ADAs and the MATICs and the XRPs. It's definitely looking to be in pretty good shape. All right, so all in all, nice numbers there. One thing to note too, and I'll just mark this for future, we do look like we have a tentative resistance level at about 2,900. So pay attention to that. If it breaks above, it'll likely stay above and become a strong support. Because as you can see, it's been tested 4 plus 4, 8 times total. It's pretty strong. So hopefully we see the price recover. If Bitcoin consolidates and stays in the just say 38 to 42 range, then we can expect Ethereum to bounce above that and to continue moving forward in an upward fashion. Now looking at Dent, let's take a look at the 1-day chart first, just so we can get perspective on what's going on here, because this has been a titan at one point and one that had fallen far from grace, right? Unfortunately, Dent has faced a lot of adverse pricing based on the things that happened previously. So as soon as there's a ripple in the market with Bitcoin selling off, Dent sold off. And then once there was a little bit of consistency with the market, Dent ramped back up. And then of course we had the Elon and the China candle that pretty much destroyed all hope for the moment, right? It's not over by any means. So just look here, right, really quick. 18th, this is the China candle, and the 12th, right there, 11th and 12th is essentially the Elon candle. So it tried to recover and bounce back, but it was held down by this resistance level of about 0.0077, and then eventually couldn't break above, and now we're down here. Good news is the 200-day moving average is working as a support level presently, which it should always do in scenarios like this when the prices came all the way up and all the way back down, it'll continue to likely hold. So I wouldn't expect the price to come much lower than where it's at presently. Okay. Again, Bitcoin goes down to 30,000 or lower, you can expect to see Dent sell off even further. Unfortunately, just the way that it's organized with the owners, etc. There's a lot of fundamental stuff that I don't truly understand. I basically am guessing here, but I know that there's a lot of problems on the inside, if that makes sense. I wouldn't say inside trading, but they control a lot of the market because they have most of the market capitalization, those who are own Dent. Enough about that. That's fundamental stuff, and again, I'm not clear on that, so don't hold me to that. But generally speaking, you can see that happen more frequent than other coins, because Dent has that tendency of selling off really hard when things get rough. Okay, so in order for us to see this type of increase, we need to see some really, really good, a Bitcoin action, right? Because if you look at this is when Bitcoin was over 60,000 right here. Okay, things were doing really well. Ever since Bitcoin's had its trouble, so has Dent, right? So just be mindful of that. Doesn't mean that's going to, the bottom's going to drop out on Dent, but if we can keep the price range of 38 to 42,000 for Bitcoin, I would expect and anticipate the price to continue upwards, and we may even see a breakout soon if we can get just some type of consistency with Bitcoin. And just to clarify too, to touch on this, we are still seeing higher highs and higher lows. So until we get a few more candles here on the 4-hour chart, we won't truly know, but the price action has been consistently increasing for Bitcoin, which bodes well for Dent. Okay? Now it's been kind of low, but I do think that we will see a return. And if we look down here, of course, RSI is almost at its all-time lowest, but we do also see on the MACD, the moving average convergence divergence, that the price is trending upwards, and we're about to see some bullish momentum. Okay? 4-hour chart, looking at this guy here, I put the most weight into my moving averages on the 4-hour chart. I think they're the most impactful, and the great news here is the price action is over the 50-day moving average. So you'll see a common trend right now with a lot of altcoins, even Bitcoin and Ethereum. The 50-day moving average is getting tested because we've had a tumultuous last 50 days, strong up, strong down, but it's finally catching up to work as a support. This is a good sign. As you can see previously, it worked as a strong resistance the entire time, and it finally hit its bottom, I feel, so far, and we should expect to see continuation upwards, or at least 50-day moving average holding as a support moving forward, and it should eventually curve upwards and continue upwards. But don't forget, we have a strong resistance level here at 0.0077. Coincidentally, that was a previous resistance level and support. So why don't we just go ahead and mark that, because that is something that has been very, very impactful in the past. So we'll just go ahead and throw that up here. And coincidentally, the 200-day moving average is right there at this point. Okay. Looking at the RSI, fair to middling, nothing crazy there. It's right in the middle. So honestly, nothing really to note. It's not overextended or underextended. It was previously. It was very, very low, well under 30 a couple of times recently. And as you can see, the price didn't get any lower than 0.0026. So I'd say that the bottom for Dent is 0.0026. That would essentially be a fairly strong support level for Dent. All right. Not much to note on the MACD. It does imply that the price is essentially leveling out, though. It's not necessarily swinging downwards, which is fine. Again, when the MACD is kind of parallel, when the lines are parallel with each other, it really just tells us that there's an indecision in the market and nothing is really happening. Even though it is trending upwards, it will probably plateau and level out until some type of push happens, either up or down. Okay, so again, MACD really just helps us understand the momentum, and right now the momentum is trending bullishly, but not strong, if that makes sense. Let's look at the 15-minute chart, see if we can identify a good entry point for you. And if you're new to the channel, I always disable my simple moving averages because I feel like they're not extremely valid or relevant on shorter time frames. Whereas the volume weighted average price, this blue line here, is much more relevant, as well as the exponential moving average. So let's just take a quick look at the VWAP first. Now, the VWAP is a volume weighted average price. That's basically just the volume in the last 24 hours expressed as a price. So right now the price according to the volume should be 0.0044. The price is 0.0043, not a strong variance, not a large variance, but the thing to note is the price action is under VWAP, which essentially just implies that the overall sentiment right now is bearish. In other words, that is a resistance level. So whenever the price is above, it's a support, price below is a resistance. It's like a moving support and resistance level that is fairly consistent. And when I say fairly consistent, you can almost count on it as a pretty strong support. I mean, you see back here, it jumped up over EMA, bounced, and continued its bullish trend right there. A lot of times the price will jump and bounce off the VWAP and EMA line, and that reiterates the fact that it's a bullish trend. And if it holds below and stays below, it would be considered bearish. So that being said, if we look at the EMA line, this red line here, first of all, it's the EMA 15. I prefer the 15 myself, that's the one that I use, but a lot of industry standards will be 9 and 20, which is why you see that as a default sometimes, because it essentially works as a momentous indicator. So it tells you what the momentum is doing. It also is a tentative support and resistance, and I'll explain more about that. But right now, if we see the EMA line, first of all, it's this red line here, and the price is below. So it lost EMA, so the price is below. That essentially means that it's bearish. So if you're planning to short, it might be a consideration for an entry point. But if you're trying to go long, which most of us do, you want to wait for confirmation for the price to come above that line first. Same thing with the VWAP as well. So if you look right now, this is not a good consideration for an entry point. What would be a good consideration is when the price stays above the VWAP and EMA line for no less than 30 minutes. So if you see my videos, you'll understand what I mean by this, but if you're new, this is what it looks like here. So just say, for example, that you're trying to chase the bottom here, and you're like, okay, I want to get in here. Not a good call, and the main reason why is because there's no confirmation above the EMA and VWAP line. Let me explain a little further. So when you look at this here, we see this one solid green bar that ramps up, and then it sells back off and tests, rejects, comes up, and rejects again. So this is a no good entry here. What's a good entry point would be to find two solid green bars, basically two green candlesticks closing. There are 15-minute time frames on the 15-minute chart. So that basically means if you look for two, that's a 30-minute confirmation that is trending in the right direction. So I always look for two solid green bars trending in the right direction. So to clarify, you see these ones down here? They're under EMA and under VWAP. They haven't closed above. Not relevant, not good. This one closed above. Okay, great. We got 1 plus 2 here. So this would be a consideration for entry right here. And you're probably asking yourself, well, why is that good? It came up and came back down. Well, that is true. See, what you do is you wait for the price to bounce off the EMA or the VWAP line and see if it holds. So first of all, to rewind, you would not take a full position at this point in time. I would maybe take a 20 to 30% position. So if you're starting with $1,000, you only put $200 to $300 in at that point in case the price reverses on you. Now, obviously it did a reverse, but here's what it did. It blew past the EMA, which is normal. It can happen sometimes, but it held on the VWAP line. So you see this is a strong support here. That's why the VWAP is reliable. So it held on the VWAP, it basically bounced after 45 minutes. Then it came back up again. So if you see this here, the price comes up over EMA, these two green bars, this would be another consideration to add to your position. So you add your position here. Okay? So you probably got just say a 20% position here, and then you would add maybe just say 40% right here. Okay, and then as you see, can you see this, how the price comes up, comes down, and rejects and bounces off the EMA? That tells you the bulls are in control. Price comes back up, bounces off the EMA, still in control, and it comes up here. And what you do to identify your exit point is to look at the RSI. I'm willing to bet the RSI is somewhere in this range here is overextended. What do you know? Right at this point, it's at its highest point. So a good consideration for an exit would be somewhere in this range here. Now you typically don't want to get out as soon as the RSI peaks over 70, because if you did that, you would have gotten out right here and you would have missed out on some opportunity, right? So not a good strategy to just get right out as soon as the RSI peaks over 70. But if you are in this position and you got 20 plus 40% and you're getting upwards of a 20% gain on your investment, that is solid, that is huge. Don't get greedy. As soon as the RSI comes up over 70, you get out. Because again, when the RSI comes up over 70, that tells you that it's overextended. Another thing that tells you it's overextended is the difference, the variance between the VWAP and the price action. So take a look at this here. You see the difference here, that how far away the price is from the VWAP line. When there's a significant variance, you have that the difference in price of what the average price should be to what the current price really truly is. When that is so desperate, so far that standard deviation is extremely high, then that causes really big problems, and it causes the price to want to retrace, right? So not only did you get a good amount of gains here, but you look at this here, that's over 15% difference from price to the top. Anytime I see something over 10%, it's kind of questionable, but 15% is definitely a case in point where you want to consider withdrawing your position, trimming some off the top. If you're going extra long with this for days and years, don't touch it, leave it alone, right? But if you are planning to get in and get out in the same day, or perhaps 1 to 30 days later, trim some off the top. If you're day trading, exit your position. Hell, even start selling some of your positions when you start hitting these little milestones there. You know, sell 50%, sell 25, sell the last 25 there. Good traders are ones that are patient and meticulous and very careful with their entrance and their exits, right? So just be mindful of that. I like to teach this in all of my videos. I'm going to have training videos later, of course, once I have more time to essentially explain how this works, because they don't work in every scenario, but I can tell you on the 15-minute chart it's fairly consistent. And you see that we're not even on the 1-minute chart. You can day trade on the 15-minute chart. You don't have to use the 1 minute. Right, now the 1 minute helps because you can kind of find smaller gains. You can do, shoot for 1 to 3% gains. But when you're doing something like this with Dent, for example, with the price being so low, you can get significant gains off of a drive like this. I mean, if you started with $1,000 and you added to your position there, you would probably have made a good 200 or 300 on the overall thing, right? Now, some people will balk at that. They'll say, okay, if you put the original 1,000 in there, you would have gotten 1,000 return. That is absolutely correct. That can happen, right? But you're gambling when you do that, and you don't have confirmation if you are not using things of this sort to essentially understand specifically when's a good time to get in, when's a good time to get out. Because if it reverses on you, you're going to lose that much more too. And a lot of people don't have the right risk tolerance to be able to set a stop limit and to get out when the price goes too low. They'll hold on, and they'll hodl, which is not a problem, don't get me wrong. But in this scenario, you never turn a day trade into a swing trade. You never turn a swing trade into a hodl, right? Again, I hope you understand what I'm trying to get across here. I apologize, I get a little preachy sometimes, but you just need to be careful and need to be smart. And I do feel that Dent has a lot of potential to recover and come back. But I don't think it's wise to just jump in because the price is low and you think that it's going to recover when it, truth be told, it very well couldn't, right? Obviously, there's no good entry point right now. You wait for the price to come over VWAP, and you wait for the price to come up over EMA, and you wait no less than 30 minutes, okay? That is my recommendation. This is what keeps me safe as a trader. In my tenure as a trader, I can tell you that I failed miserably when I didn't utilize things like this on a daily basis. You have to be very structured. Have a plan before you take entry, okay? Think about it. Don't just jump in because somebody says it's 10x, right? A lot of other people in the crypto universe are just telling you to try to get you hyped up. Hype is your enemy. Don't give in. All right, so that is all I have for you today. I hope you found benefit and don't feel like it was coming down on you there, but I tell you that it's important to know these things and to be smart, right? So that's why we're here. If you want to get smarter, go ahead and feel free to contribute. My Patreon account, actually the request that I have for this Dent video is from one of my contributors. So thank you again very much, Steve, for recommending that I cover this. Furthermore, I have a Telegram community and also a Discord channel, general chat there. You can go ahead and jump in there and get engaged. We all try to learn and grow together so we can become better traders. All right, so I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for your time. We'll see you soon.